Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a family fights for justice. Sub-postmistress Karen Lorimer pleaded guilty to embezzlement on the basis of evidence from the Horizon IT system, now known to be faulty. She died before she could clear her name. Her family say they'll fight on.
When she knew she was terminal and she was dying, that was one of the things she said. I wish I had gone ahead and fought to clear my name, so I decided to take it on for her.
Also on tonight's programme, calls for urgent action to end preventable asthma deaths in Scotland.
Katie was bright, she was bubbly, she was super friendly. Everybody loved her.
Tracy lost her 12-year-old daughter Katie to the condition in November 2021. She's now campaigning to raise awareness of the severity of asthma. We'll have the latest on a proposed Flamingo Land resort on the shores of Loch Lomond.
Coming up in the sport, we hear from the Kilmarnock camp chasing European football as the Scottish Premiership resumes for the split this weekend.
And the actress who stars in the Netflix hit Baby Reindeer is urging people not to speculate about the real-life identity of the characters. I'm Graham Stewart. Welcome to Wednesday's programme. The family of a sub-postmistress who died before she had the chance to clear her name say they're confident her conviction will be quashed. Karen Lorimer pleaded guilty to embezzlement on the basis of evidence from the Horizon IT system, now known to be faulty. Katie Hunter reports.
A family grieving while fighting for justice. Karen Lorimer's relatives were in court for the first time this morning. Karen was convicted of embezzlement in 2009. She died in 2022.
Karen obviously didn't get a chance to clear her name, and when she knew she was terminal and she was dying, that was one of the things she said. I wish I had gone ahead and fought to clear my name, so I decided to take it on for her.
Karen ran this post office in Kilmarnock. When the Horizon IT system showed a shortfall, she was accused of stealing. But we now know this system was faulty and at the heart of a UK-wide scandal. Earlier this year, the BBC's Disclosure programme broadcast transcripts of the police interviewing Karen Lorimer about Horizon. Their words are voiced by actors.
It's completely and utterly foolproof, and they've done all their checks, and this money is not there. Nobody will ever believe you to sit there and say, I put it in the system. It's no there. So where is it?
I don't know where the money is.
Did you take the money?
No.
Horizon was far from foolproof, and this morning Karen's family were given permission to continue their appeal. They now hope her name will be cleared, and quickly.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
I'm confident that we'll get that.
Yeah, so am I.
And what will that mean to you, David?
The world. Yeah.
What about you, Joanne?
Yeah, same. I'll be delighted for the full family after everything they've been through.
19 people in Scotland have applied to have Post Office Horizon convictions overturned. 6 have succeeded.
I wish Karen had known how many people were involved, because she thought she was the only one.
And just what do you think Karen would make of what's happened today? I know we're not there, but what do you...
Oh,
she'll be
proud.
looking
good.
Yeah, she'll be proud.
She'll be delighted.
Karen died a convicted criminal. Her family's fight to clear her name continues.
And Katie joins us now from Holyrood. So Katie, positive steps for the Lorimer family there, but still a lot of political wrangling around a wider solution to the scandal.
Yeah, that's right, Graham. Karen's family have been fighting to clear her name through the courts. But remember, after that ITV drama earlier this year, there was a huge political push to clear all the victims of this in one go, a kind of mass exoneration, if you like. Well, the UK government has set out legislation to do that, but it doesn't include Scotland. And the First Minister, Humza Yousaf, has described the decision not to include Scotland as scandalous. So the Scottish Government has said that it will set out its own legislation on this before the summer. Now, Scotland and England have different legal systems. In England, for example, it was the Post Office prosecuting these Horizon cases. In Scotland, it was the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service. And what the UK government is saying is that justice is a devolved matter, so it's right that Scottish ministers remain accountable for decisions taken in Scotland, and it will continue to support the Scottish government in developing proposals to overturn convictions here. But having spoken to a few victims involved in this scandal over the last few years, what they say time and time again is they just want the authorities to get cracking. They want innocent people to be cleared as soon as possible, whether that's through the courts or through Parliament.
Katie, thank you. 12,000 people across the UK have died from asthma attacks in the past decade. That's after a report by the Royal College of Physicians found that the majority of asthma deaths are preventable. Well, here in Scotland, 111 people died from the condition in 2022 alone. Among those who've suffered a loss to asthma is Tracy Bulpett from Cumbernauld, whose daughter Katie died 3 years ago at the age of just 12. She's been telling Suzanne Allen how suddenly the tragic event unfolded.
So even though Katie's no longer with us, she'll never be forgotten.
That's lovely. Katie was just 12 when she came home from school with a headache. Within hours, she was struggling to breathe and died shortly after. The shock is still being felt.
Katie was bright, she was bubbly, she was super friendly. Everybody loved her. It's just not the same without Katie.
Her asthma was well managed by the family and inhalers were being used correctly. But Tracy worries the condition is not taken as seriously as it should be.
So anytime we had the slightest attack, we would 999 an ambulance. I've had paramedics sit in this house and tell me, oh, she's not in a full attack because she wasn't struggling, because her oxygen levels were thin. I've forced them to take us to the hospital. Whilst en route to Wishaw, which was obviously Katie's hospital, Katie's went into a full-blown attack and needed nebulisers, needed oxygen. That's within 20 minutes.
In the UK, tens of thousands of people are admitted to hospital with life-threatening asthma attacks every year. Asthma and Lung UK say the majority of these are preventable. The charity warns patients to use preventative inhalers more instead of relying too heavily on reliever inhalers, which may mean symptoms are poorly managed and puts people at greater risk of death.
By better access to basic asthma care, having annual reviews, having inhalers checked, people getting the support to manage their condition.
Katie had 5 siblings. 3 of them have asthma. It's a constant worry for Tracy, especially with the youngest, Marissa.
It is. It's a constant panic because you never know. So it's making sure that she's taking her inhalers, she's taking the preventative inhalers twice a day, she's taking all the other meds that she's prescribed, and just trying to be as good as I can.
And part of that is raising awareness of the seriousness of asthma and how a few simple checkups can save lives. Suzanne Allen reporting, Scotland, Cumbernauld.
OK, some of the day's other stories now. Car passengers died after a crash with a lorry on the A941 in Murray. The 56-year-old man died at the scene while the driver and 2 other passengers were taken to Aberdeen Royal Infirmary. The HGV driver was not injured. The road near the junction with the A95 has reopened and police inquiries are ongoing. Air crash investigators have been on the scene near Prestwick Airport after a light aircraft came down onto farmland. Emergency services were called to Moncton just after 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. 2 men aged 65 and 75 were taken to hospital in Glasgow with serious injuries. Inquiries are ongoing. The main Calmac ferry between Ayrshire and Arran will be out of action for longer than expected, with the operator confirming that repairs to the Caledonian Isles will take significantly longer than anticipated. A revised timetable will remain in place until the vessel is back in service at the end of August. A new ferry being built for the route is also facing a further delay. A huge section of a new road bridge has been sailed down the River Clyde into position in Renfrewshire. Once it's opened later this year, the 2-lane Renfrew Bridge will connect Yoker and Clyde Bank with Renfrew. It's part of a £170 million project to open up opportunities for businesses and communities on either side of the water. Now, research seen by the BBC shows that more than half the population in 3 Scottish council areas is at risk of experiencing food insecurity. That's when people don't have reliable access to affordable, healthy meals on a day-to-day basis. The figure is highest in North Ayrshire, where 65% of the population is at risk. Our Money and Work reporter, Hope Webb, has the story.
It's a busy day at the North Ayrshire Food Bank in Ardrossan. Volunteer James is prepping food packages for people in crisis. He himself relied on the service after moving up from Manchester.
Knowing that I can put a tin of beans on the table or a tin of spaghetti on the table, I know it's there if I need it, and it's the same with anybody else. Don't struggle, come forward, we will help.
There's also a food larder here where people can buy 15 food items for less than a £5. It helps working parents like Louise keep expenses down.
There's a little bit of feeling like you're not quite doing enough. You're not quite good enough as a parent or whatever, thinking, well, I can't provide what other generations were able to. But knowing that other people are in that struggle, it just makes such a difference.
Louise and 65% of the population of North Ayrshire are living at risk of food insecurity. That's according to new research from Leeds University and consumer group Which.
The findings are based on a group of different factors taken from public data. Things like the distance that people have to travel to get to local supermarkets, the accessibility via public transport, the number of people on prepayment meters, for example, and the accessibility to things like food banks.
At the heart of communities are schools, and this school is attempting to tackle food poverty head-on with its own project, a new school allotment.
I would say 2/3 to 3/4 of our children are probably receiving a meal at lunchtime, and that middle of the day meal might be their big meal. The thought even of children worrying about going home of what they're going to eat really tears me apart inside, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. The pupils here are able to learn more about homegrown vegetables and, crucially, take them home free of charge.
Last week we came up and we planted, I think it was onions, it was onions.
I love coming down to see all the beautiful colours, and it's so peaceful and quiet, and it's just amazing.
Last month, North Ayrshire Council confirmed it will extend its free school meal provision. By early 2026, all primary-age pupils will get them. It's a step that could make a significant difference to household budgets and hopefully plant the seeds of change for the next generation. Hope Webb, reporting Scotland.
Tonight's main news again. And the family of a sub-postmistress who died before she could clear her name say they're confident her conviction will be quashed.
And still to come in the sport, Scotland prepare for their final game in the Women's Six Nations with World Cup qualification on the line. Now, Edinburgh University is turning up the heat on its students. It's been awarded a Scottish Government grant of more than £2 million to recycle waste heat generated by their computer servers and use it to keep their students cosy. It's part of a package of funding announced by the Green Minister Patrick Harvie, who's under pressure because of scrapped climate change targets. Our environment correspondent Kevin Keane reports.
Computers generate heat, and huge amounts of energy is consumed keeping them cool. But here at Edinburgh University, they're planning to use that heat to tackle climate change. And it all happens in this boiler room.
So these here are pumps that carry the hot water around the building in a kind of district heat system. And what the university is getting is a big heat pump that will be situated here to replace the gas with heat from those server rooms.
These pipes here are the district heating infrastructure coming through.
Unlike most heat pumps which use normal outside air, the warm air means it won't have to work as hard.
That heat being taken away is normally cooled by a chiller. We will use that heat that's emitted by the computer system as a form of heating to the campus, as opposed to wasting it and putting it to the atmosphere.
Most students won't notice a thing as the new technology will be linked to existing radiators and underfloor heating. but it will be a step towards the decarbonisation students are demanding.
We know that we've got a large and complex estate at the university, 550 buildings, each with its own challenges. Much of our estate is listed, for example, so we know that that's going to take significant investment over time.
The uni is being awarded £2.1 million towards the project from a fund controlled by the co-leader of the Scottish Greens.
Is this sort of project going to be enough to convince your members to keep you in government?
I think it would be tragic if the Scottish Green Party was to walk away now from the task that we've undertaken to accelerate the Heat and Buildings programme. That's what we're doing as part of the Scottish Government, and a whole host of other areas as well, where we're delivering on the commitments that we set out to our members.
This project is part of an £11 million package of measures announced today for 7 public buildings. The far bigger and more challenging task is introducing greener heating into our homes. Kevin Keane reporting, Scotland, Edinburgh.
The proposed development at Loch Lomond by the Flamingoland theme park company reached an important stage today when West Dunbartonshire councillors voted in favour of the company's latest plans. However, the decision on whether the development can go ahead is not one for the council, but will be taken instead by the Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park Authority. Those behind the plan say it means a £40 million investment and much needed jobs. Others, though, question whether it's appropriate for the location. Well, Aileen Clark is at a sunny Loch Lomond for us tonight. Aileen, just remind us of the proposals.
Well, look at it here. It's breezy but beautiful here tonight. Take a look at that. And that makes it quite clear for you just why this is one of Scotland's favourite beauty spots. Now, that's why it is creating this amount of controversy. The developers say they're not looking to build a theme park here. There will be no flamingos. They're saying this is more like a centre parks kind of resort. But to give you an idea of that, that work would go all the way back to Balloch, for example. It would start in Balloch, come out towards the loch. You're looking at more accommodation behind the Lomond Shores shopping centre. You're looking at sort of leisure development, like a big fancy swimming pool, maybe with flumes, and there would even be a monorail. Now, it is the size of that that is really creating concern, and campaigners tell me there's been around 80,000 objections to this scheme, and I spoke to 2 of those objectors outside the council building today.
We always welcome tourism, we welcome people to the area, but I think basically it's taking away one of the last pieces of open greens, free green space on the west bank of Balloch, the River Leven and the Loch.
The economic benefit is a red herring, I think, for the local community. The size of the development is huge, it's far too big, so you're going to impact on the natural beauty of the local area. You have the wildlife that's going to be impacted, and the potential footfall that already comes to Balloch may actually be driven away.
So, Aileen, what's the significance of today's vote then?
Well, you're quite right in what you were saying, Graham. This is not in the gift of the local council. Normally planning applications are, this one is not, because it comes within the national park. So this is a decision that will eventually have to be taken by the board of the National Park Authority here. But the developers tonight are certainly very pleased that the council vote went their way this time, because the last time, on their last proposals they took before the council were not in favour of those because they said that smacked of overdevelopment. So the developers certainly think that this time round they're in a better position. But there's still quite a way to go here. The National Park Authority is telling me that they are doing further consultation on traffic and flooding concerns, so that's work that's still going on before they will get to the stage of considering this. And remember, this application will be considered by the board of the National Park Authority. But I think we are some way away from that, certainly months away from that.
OK, Aileen, thank you for that. A beautiful night in Loch Lomond. Let's get the sport now with Lewis talking about a Scottish football success story.
Absolutely, Graham, yeah. And while it's getting to that stage of the season where the results are getting important, it's the end of season accolades we're starting to talk about too. Thanks very much, Graham. Yes, good evening there. Well, there's no doubt that the achievements of Kilmarnock are one of the success stories of the Premiership season. And the club's assistant manager, Paul Sheeran, says that boss Derek McInnes definitely deserves recognition for it. Fourth-placed Killie are looking increasingly likely to secure European football for next season, and a win at home to Hearts on Saturday could confirm it. When McInnes took over at Killie 2 years ago, the club were in the Championship and Sheeran reckons it's been a remarkable rise since then.
The gaffer continually, between Aberdeen and now, has built squads season after season to compete at the top level in the Scottish Premier League, and I think he's proven that again this season, so I'd be surprised if he wasn't recognised at some stage. We'll enjoy this season as we can, but again there's a realisation that the hard work once this season's done, if we get over the line, which is the most important part to make sure we do that, we'll start straight away going into next season.
A team at the other end of the table is Livingston, and their manager David Martindale says that he's trying to protect the mental health of his squad during what he's described as a challenging period. The West Lothian side fell to a 4-2 defeat against third-placed Hearts last time out, but defeat to 11th-placed Ross County on Saturday would see them relegated to the Championship. Martindale hopes that his squad are returning refreshed following a break over Scottish Cup weekend to spend some time with their families. To rugby now, and Scotland winger Francesca McGee says playing in the World Cup is every player's dream as they prepare to face Ireland in their final game in the Women's Six Nations. The Scots occupy third spot in the table, which, if they can finish there, would be enough to qualify for next year's World Cup. But as they head to Belfast this weekend, there's more than just results on the players' minds.
This campaign has definitely been a step forward from last campaign, which is what we want to see in women's rugby. You know, even Ireland have had a step in the right direction compared to last year, so that's all we really want, is for women's rugby to keep growing and for all the teams to develop. And yeah, I think that this game is exciting for everyone to play in and to watch. A World Cup is every rugby player's dream, so yeah, just looking forward to this weekend and then see what happens.
Glasgow Warriors scrum half George Horn says Scottish teams are not getting it done when it comes to the biggest games, but believes winning one trophy could be key to unlocking more success. Warriors currently sit second in the United Rugby Championship as they chase a first title since 2015. Speaking on the Scottish Rugby podcast, Horn says they're keen to learn from several near misses and get their hands on some silverware.
We still need to go and do it, and we're conscious of that, especially as kind of a senior player group, that when it gets to these big games that are swung on tiny moments, we're not getting it done. And it's something that's happening at Glasgow, like you said, Quinn's game, final last year, Munster game, quarter last year. We're so desperate to get it done. I think once it happens once, hopefully we can kind of breed that winning culture, and yeah, something we can hopefully improve on.
Edinburgh rugby flanker Luke Crosby says his side can take a lot of learnings from their victory over Scarlets last weekend. The Edinburgh side were behind at the break and came back to win the contest 43-18 at the Hive on Saturday. Crosby, who returned to the squad earlier this month after recovering from a shoulder injury, says they need to give it everything as they prepare to face Cardiff this weekend.
Yeah, like every team's a threat. Like they've all got strength, the players they have and what they can do. Like you can't go on a team thinking you're just going to perform. You need to work hard during the week and go on with it and give it everything. So especially that first half against Scarlets, we knew it was frustrating, and looking at the scoreboard and looking at the positions that they were in, and they capitalised on them. So we've took that learning going through in at Cardiff this weekend. So yeah, we're going for it.
And before I go, Graham, John Higgins gets started in the World Snooker Championships tonight at 7:30, so one to look out for.
Lewis, thank you for that. So let's find out from Laura McKeever what's happening on the 9 tonight.
Coming up on the 9 tonight, we'll speak to a tech journalist on how TikTok could soon be banned in the US. We'll also have the latest from the Middle East as mass graves are discovered at 2 hospitals in Gaza. And we'll look too at the play inspired by the equal pay dispute at Glasgow City Council. We'll see you at 9.
Now, it's arguably the biggest Scottish success story in the world of entertainment in recent years. Fife-born Richard Gadd's Netflix show, Baby Reindeer, which is based on his own experiences, has received almost universal praise from critics and audiences alike. At the heart of the story is his alter ego Donnie, who's pursued by a stalker known in the series as Martha. Now, in real life, Richard's stalker sent him more than 41,000 emails, 350 hours worth of voicemails and 744 tweets. But the actress playing Martha in the series says viewers need to stop speculating on the character's real-life identity. Jessica Gunning has been speaking to our reporter, Indigo Stafford.
So you're a comedian?
Sort of.
It's not going well.
So is that a question?
Somebody hurt you, didn't they? Who was it?
Martha, can you let go of my hand now, please? Martha, please let go!
Don't you dare!
So this show has absolutely blown up. It's #1 on Netflix. People all across the world are tuning in. Could you ever have imagined it was going to be this big?
I had a feeling that it might be a pretty incredible show to be part of, because I just thought Richard's writing was just the best I've ever read, and his honesty in telling this story was incredible, incredibly brave, I thought. And then when I saw all 7 episodes together, I thought whoever watches this is going to find it really interesting. And I thought it might be kind of like a bit of an indie slow burner. Everyone who's like heard of it knows it, but I never ever imagined that it would do this well.
Look, Martha, just go back home.
I have a sneaky feeling you might be the death of me.
I think that amongst many things, the show is about a lot of topics, but I think trauma is one of them that I really think is a through line with all the characters.
Well, Richard, the creator, he's been quite open about how he doesn't want people in the show to be identified, but of course with it blowing up, people are already claiming that they found the real life Martha. What do you think about that?
I would say that that's a bit of a shame, actually. I think it's quite sad, and I think that I would urge them to watch the show again and just try and really see that that was not what was intended at all. It wasn't the point of the show, and Netflix went to great lengths to protect the identity of the people involved for a reason.
Got really manly hands, haven't you? Chiseled jawline. Should we run away together?
So let's talk about your accent. It was absolutely incredible. You're not Scottish, which a lot of people would be shocked to find out.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm very pleased. And we also got a seal of approval from Lorraine the other day. So what more can you ask for?
OK, Christopher, hopefully continued good weather?
Well, a lot of dry weather to come, perhaps not quite the amount of sunshine that we had today. Some lovely photos from our weather watchers, as usual, Graham. Thanks very much indeed. Very good evening to you. Some decent spells of sunshine today, some spring sunshine, some spring colours. It wasn't quite like that everywhere. This is the satellite picture from earlier. You can see, if I sort of step out the way, a little more in the way of cloud pushing in across parts of the north, in towards the northwest. Elsewhere, though, to end the day, evening sunshine through much of central and southern Scotland. Then into this evening and overnight, we once again have cloud filing in from the north with a few showers across the Northern Isles in towards the northeast. Those wintry down to around 200 metres, actually. Elsewhere, dry with some clear spells, 2 to 4 Celsius in town. Tomorrow, and once again, we've got that breeze from the north. It will be brisk at times and feel quite chilly if you're in it around the north and east coast and the Northern Isles. Feeding in a number of showers once again, these wintry across the hills and high ground, and the cloud tending to build through the day, so probably cloudier than today, certainly inland. Like today, though, warmest in the west, 10 or 11 Celsius, further east, cooler, 8 or 9, and if you're in that chilly breeze, it will feel quite cool indeed. A few showers across the far north in towards the Hebrides and the Northern Isles there, and again, 7, 8 Celsius for Orkney and Shetland, in the wind, feeling colder than that. Tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, once again, we've got a breeze pushing in those showers. There'll be some clear skies and probably a colder night than this coming night. So temperatures here in towns and cities not far off freezing. In the countryside, there will be a frost. Looking ahead now towards Friday, lighter winds, but still coming in from the north, feeding in a lot of cloud and once again a few showers. So Friday, probably the cloudiest of the coming days. And again, a few showers coming in with that thicker cloud, 1 or 2 on the heavy side. There'll be a few bright intervals at times and temperatures once again around 8 to 12 Celsius, warmest in the west and southwest. To the weekend, it doesn't look too bad, I have to say. There is this low pressure system just threatening some rain in towards the southeast later on. Elsewhere, largely dry, cloudy, some brightness, showers at times. That's the forecast for now.
Still a bit chilly overnight as well.
Yes,
Watch
indeed.
out for that. Christopher, thank you. That is all for tonight. Anne McAlpine will be here at 10:30 from all of us. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye for now.